Reinvention begins the moment you stop waiting for permission and decide to take responsibility for your life. Not permission from your parents, not approval from society, not validation from people who don't live with the consequences of your choices. Permission is the illusion that keeps people stuck. Responsibility is the doorway that sets them free. The instant you say, "This is my life, and I own it," everything changes not externally at first, but internally, where real transformation begins. Most people don't fail because they lack talent or opportunity. They fail because they keep waiting, waiting to feel ready, waiting to be confident, waiting for someone to notice them, choose them, or rescue them. But life doesn't reward waiting, it responds to ownership. When you stop asking, "What if?" and start saying, "I will," you reclaim your power. Responsibility is not a burden, it is the ultimate form of control. Taking responsibility means accepting that where you are right now is a result of choices, patterns, and habits, even the ones you didn't consciously choose. That truth can sting, but it's also empowering. Because if your choices created this life, your choices can create a different one. The moment you stop blaming circumstances, people, or timing, you gain something priceless, the ability to change. Reinvention is not about erasing your past, it's about refusing to let it define you. The past only has power when you keep using it as an excuse. Every mistake you've made was data, every failure was feedback. Responsibility turns regret into wisdom and pain into strategy. You don't grow by pretending it didn't happen. You grow by owning it and deciding to move forward with intention. When you take responsibility, your standards rise. You stop tolerating what drains you. You stop negotiating with excuses. You begin to act like someone who respects their future. This is where discipline is born not from punishment, but from self-respect. Discipline is simply choosing what you want most over what you want now, again and again, even when no one is watching. Reinvention also requires emotional responsibility. You stop allowing your feelings to dictate your actions. You learn to feel fear without obeying it, to experience doubt without surrendering to it. Emotions are signals, not commands. When you take responsibility for your inner world, you stop being controlled by temporary states and start living from long-term vision. There will be moments when responsibility feels heavy, when it would be easier to blame, to quit, to fall back into old patterns. But growth is not meant to be comfortable, it's meant to be transformative. Every time you choose responsibility over avoidance, you build trust with yourself. And self-trust is the foundation of confidence. You don't reinvent your life in one dramatic move. You reinvent it in the quiet decisions you make daily, the decision to show up when it's inconvenient, the decision to keep your word to yourself, the decision to act like the person you want to become, even before you fully believe you are that person. Responsibility doesn't mean you control everything that happens to you. It means you control how you respond, how you adapt, and how you move forward, and that control is enough to change everything. When you stop waiting for permission and start taking ownership, you no longer feel trapped by your circumstances. You become the architect of your future. Reinvention begins the moment you accept that this is your life and you are responsible for making it meaningful, not tomorrow, not someday, now. You don't need a new life, you need a new identity, new standards, and new habits. You don't need a new life, you need a new identity, new standards, and new habits. Most people believe change requires a dramatic reset, a new environment, new people, a new opportunity, but the truth is simpler and far more challenging. If you take the same identity into a new life, you will recreate the same problems in a different setting. Real transformation doesn't start outside of you, it starts with who you decide to be. Your identity is the story you tell yourself about yourself. It's the quiet sentence that runs in your mind when no one else is listening. I'm not disciplined. I always mess things up. This is just how my life goes. Those beliefs shape every decision you make. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your identity. If you see yourself as someone who quits, you will quit. If you see yourself as someone who grows, you will find a way forward. Reinventing your identity doesn't mean pretending to be someone you're not. It means choosing who you are becoming. You act first, and the belief follows. Confidence is built through evidence, not motivation. Each time you show up when it's uncomfortable, keep a promise to yourself, or do the hard thing instead of the easy one. You cast a vote for your new identity. Over time, those votes compound into certainty. Along with identity come standards. Standards are the invisible rules you live by. They determine what you accept, what you tolerate, and what you walk away from. You don't get what you want in life, you get what you tolerate. If your standards are low, no amount of dreaming will save you. Raising your standards means deciding what is no longer acceptable in your life, even if changing it feels uncomfortable. New standards require honesty. You stop lying to yourself about why things aren't working. You stop normalizing chaos, inconsistency, and self-betrayal. You stop saying it's fine when it isn't. Higher standards don't make life harder, they make it cleaner. Clear boundaries remove confusion. Clear expectations eliminate regret. But identity and standards mean nothing without habits. Habits are where intention becomes reality. They are the daily proof of who you are. You don't become a new person by thinking differently once. You become a new person by acting differently consistently. Small habits may feel insignificant in the moment, but they are powerful because they shape your future quietly. Most people overestimate what they can do in a week and underestimate what they can do in a year. Reinvention happens through repetition, waking up when you said you would, doing the work even when motivation disappears. Choosing progress over perfection. Habits don't need to be dramatic, they need to be reliable. There will be resistance. Your old identity will fight to survive. Comfort will try to pull you back. People around you may not recognize the new version of you at first. That's part of the process. Growth often feels lonely before it feels rewarding. But every time you honor your new standards and reinforce your new habits, you strengthen the person you are becoming. You don't need to escape your life. You need to upgrade the way you live it. When your identity changes, your decisions change. When your standards rise, your environment shifts. When your habits improve, your results follow. The life you want is not waiting somewhere else, it is waiting on the other side of who you choose to become, starting today. Your past does not disqualify you. It prepares you when you choose to learn from it. Your past does not disqualify you. It prepares you when you choose to learn from it. Too many people carry their history like a life sentence, believing that mistakes, failures, or lost time have permanently closed doors. But the truth is, the past only has power when you refuse to extract wisdom from it. What you've been through is not proof that you can't succeed, it's evidence that you survived, adapted, and are still here. Pain is not random. Every setback taught you something about yourself, about people, about what doesn't work. The problem isn't the experience, it's when you relive it without reflection. When you don't learn, the past becomes a prison. When you do learn, it becomes a foundation. Responsibility turns regret into insight, and insight becomes direction. Most people judge themselves by their lowest moments. They define their entire identity by one bad decision, one failure, or one season of weakness. But growth doesn't work that way. You are not the worst thing you've ever done. You are the sum of what you've learned and how you choose to move forward. Wisdom is earned, not inherited, and often it comes at a cost. When you choose to learn from your past, you stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" That single shift changes everything. Victimhood fades, clarity appears, and responsibility takes its place. You regain control not by erasing the past, but by understanding it. Your failures trained skills you didn't realize you were developing: resilience, awareness, emotional strength, discernment. Your disappointments sharpened your judgment. Your losses forced you to evaluate what truly matters. None of that was wasted unless you decide it was. The only real failure is repeating the same lesson because you refused to learn it the first time. Learning from the past also requires forgiveness, especially toward yourself. You made decisions with the information, maturity, and resources you had at the time. Holding on to self blame doesn't make you accountable, it keeps you stuck. Accountability is forward, focused, it says, now I know better, so I will do better. Preparedness often looks like discomfort. It looks like caution where you used to be careless, patience where you used to rush, and boundaries where you used to tolerate too much. That's not weakness, that's growth. Experience doesn't harden you, avoidance does. Learning refines you. Your past becomes an advantage when you allow it to inform your choices instead of limiting them. You stop repeating patterns, you recognize red flags sooner, you move with intention instead of impulse. What once hurt you now protects you. What once confused you now guides you. Reinvention happens when you stop trying to outrun your past and start integrating it. The goal is not to forget who you were, but to evolve beyond it. The lessons stay, the pain loses its grip, and the direction becomes clearer. You are not behind, you are not broken, you are not disqualified. You are prepared if you're willing to learn, adjust, and move forward with purpose. The past has already done its job, now it's your turn to use it. Small, uncomfortable actions done consistently create massive life transformation. Small, uncomfortable actions done consistently create massive life transformation. Not grand gestures, not overnight breakthroughs. Real change is built quietly, in moments no one applauds and no one posts about. It's built in the choice to do what's slightly uncomfortable today instead of what's familiar and easy. Most people underestimate these moments because they don't look powerful, but they are. Transformation doesn't come from intensity, it comes from consistency. Anyone can feel motivated for a day. Anyone can make a dramatic promise in an emotional moment. But the people who actually change their lives are the ones who show up when motivation is gone and excuses are loud. They understand that progress is not about doing everything, it's about doing something repeatedly. Uncomfortable actions force growth because they stretch who you are. Comfort keeps you the same. The moment something feels uncomfortable is often the moment it's working. Waking up earlier than you want to. Speaking up when you'd rather stay quiet. Choosing discipline when comfort is tempting. These moments seem insignificant, but they compound over time. Most people avoid discomfort because they associate it with pain or failure. But discomfort is not danger, it's expansion. It's your nervous system adjusting to a higher standard. Every time you do the uncomfortable thing and survive it, your confidence grows. You prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you believed. Consistency turns these moments into identity. When you repeatedly choose effort over ease, you stop seeing yourself as someone who tries and start seeing yourself as someone who follows through. That identity shift is where real transformation happens. You don't become confident by thinking positively. You become confident by keeping promises to yourself. The problem is that small actions don't deliver instant rewards. There's no immediate applause. No dramatic before and after moment, and that's why most people quit too early. They don't realize they're standing inches from momentum. Change feels invisible right before it becomes obvious. Life transformation is rarely the result of one big decision. It's the result of hundreds of small decisions stacked together. Reading a few pages a day, moving your body even when you're tired, choosing better conversations, saying no to what drains you, saying yes to what builds you. None of these actions change your life alone, but together they redefine it. Consistency also teaches patience. It forces you to trust the process when results are slow. It builds emotional strength, the ability to keep going without constant validation. That strength spills into every area of your life. You stop needing external motivation because discipline becomes internal. There will be days you miss, days you fail, days you feel like nothing is working. That doesn't mean the process is broken, it means you're human. The key is not perfection, it's returning. Every time you come back, you reinforce the habit of resilience, and resilience compounds just like effort does. Massive transformation is not loud, it doesn't announce itself. One day you look back and realize your reactions have changed, Your standards have risen, and your confidence feels natural instead of forced. That's the power of small, uncomfortable actions done consistently. They don't just change your habits, they change who you are. The life you want is built by who you become starting today, not someday. The life you want is built by who you become starting today, not someday. Someday is the most dangerous word people use when they talk about their future. Someday I'll start. Someday I'll be disciplined. Someday I'll believe in myself. Someday feels safe because it demands nothing from you right now. Today, on the other hand, requires courage, responsibility, and action even when you don't feel ready. Most people don't fail because they don't know what to do. They fail because they keep postponing becoming the person who does it. They wait for confidence before acting, not realizing confidence is built through action. They wait for clarity, not understanding that clarity comes from movement. Growth doesn't begin when everything makes sense. It begins when you decide to move forward anyway. Who you become is shaped by the choices you make in ordinary moments. Not when life is dramatic, but when it's repetitive, when no one is watching, when it would be easier to quit or delay. Those moments don't feel important, but they are shaping your identity. Every action you take is a vote for the person you are becoming. Starting today doesn't mean you suddenly have it all figured out. It means you stop negotiating with your excuses. It means you act according to your future, not your feelings. Discipline is not about being harsh with yourself. It's about respecting the life you say you want. You don't build a powerful future by betraying yourself in the present. The idea of someday keeps people emotionally comfortable but spiritually stuck. It creates the illusion of progress without requiring change. But time will pass whether you act or not. The question is not whether the future is coming, it's who you will be when it arrives. Becoming someone new starts with raising your standards today. What you tolerate today trains your future. What you allow today becomes your normal. If you keep accepting less than what you want, you teach yourself to expect less. Change begins the moment you decide that your current patterns are no longer acceptable. There will never be a perfect version of today. There will always be fear, uncertainty, and reasons to wait. But waiting doesn't eliminate fear, it strengthens it. Action weakens fear. Each step forward builds evidence that you are capable, resilient, and committed to your growth. You don't wake up one day as a different person. You wake up as the result of choices you made yesterday. That's why today matters so much. It's not about doing everything. It's about doing something that aligns with the person you want to become. One honest decision, one disciplined action, one promise kept. The future you want is not created by wishing harder. It's created by showing up differently, starting now, not when conditions improve. Not when confidence magically appears, but today when it's imperfect, uncomfortable, and real. The life you want is not waiting for you somewhere ahead. It is being built right now by the person you choose to be in this moment. And that choice begins today.